Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome into this midweek edition of the D2L Western Challenge. It's our last play day this week as things are beginning to get packed all across the Dota scene, but RoX.KIS back for another doubleheader and being tested quite a bit early. They already took on Na'Vi and Cloud9, now ready to face up against Alliance in this leadoff best of 3. They'll be in action against Fnatic following this, scheduled tentatively for noon Pacific Standard Time, and on down the line for the rest of the times. For now, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the lineup, see how these two teams stack up man for man and one for one, beginning with Alliance. As we can see, Alliance has not had the best record so far throughout D2L play. They really have to get it in gear. They don't have that many more matches left if they want to take a serious run at making it into postseason play, and they've certainly been underperforming as of late. We saw them finish in the bottom half of the standings at Star Ladder, and that kind of shocked everyone, but equally shocking was Na'Vi was right down there with them. So not as if they're the only team struggling right now, though here in D2L play, Na'Vi continuing to look good. They've got S4, of course, the captain hanging out in mid while Bulldog holds down the off lane, one of the most experienced and charismatic carry players on the planet in Loda, playing the one position with Ake, of course, the phenomenal Chen out in the support jungle position, and the glue that holds this team together, EGM, on hard support. Today, they'll be up against RoX.KIS, who likewise has not really shined that well here in D2L Western Challenge play so far. We see their record, yeah, that's about where they sit. Not in the best of shape looking ahead to the remainder of their schedule, but a chance to get things back on track with 2 matches here today. And given each team only plays 7 times, they have to make it happen right here and right now. Otherwise, they face the very real possibility that they'll be in a win-or-go-home situation on only their second day of play. They're led by Golblack, the mad scientist of Dota on the hard support. They got BZZ out on the carry position. BZZ is really a lot of fun, but has struggled to find the consistency you really want out of your one position. Of course, Solo in mid with Yol on the support and Sadoy out in the off lane. Me, I'm your host there in AC Chambers, live from our downtown studio here in San Francisco. We'll have Trouf on as always, and looking forward to getting into the action. Game 1 is already in the drafting phase. We'll be jumping into that in just moments. Make sure you stick with us again for this RoX.KIS doubleheader here on our last play day this week of D2L Western Challenge play. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All set to jump right into the action. As we can see, the draft already quite a bit underway. Neither of these teams wasting any time. You can see their bonus time is actually still sitting at 150 and 144, so not a lot of time to think. Both going with what I can only guess is premeditated drafts and lineups, and only now beginning to burn through that time a little bit. RoX.KIS leading off with Invoker. Of course, they'll be handing that to Solo out of mid. Centaur and Bane to follow, while Alliance grabs S4 his puck, and they'll be running the Dazzle and the Tree and Protector, 2 supports that we've seen just emerge as true top-tier picks to help break down this draft and, of course, lend his insight and analysis throughout the entire Western Challenge. Welcome in again, Trouf. And Trouf, we got to see RoX play 2 series yesterday, and I think we were both of the same mind about it. Their draft was okay. It was easy to see what they were going for. Maybe a little thin, but that's okay if you can execute it. But at the end of the day, the communication just didn't seem to be there. Their ability to execute when it came to the fine timings and the chaining together of abilities really set them back, and they lost pretty handily in both series.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, and I think that their lineup was a little bit different, but that's what RoX.KIS is. They like to pick a lot of different stuff. The thing about today, though, so far what I'm seeing is that Invoker, Centaur, Bane, this is not different by any means. This is quite standard, so it looks like they're picking more of the, you know, quote-unquote standard picks for today, it seems.
Right.
And I thought for a second it was going to be Golblack drafting, but I looked in there, I see the little crown on 633, so he's going to be drafting. And so yeah, a little bit more standard stuff from him, but I agree. Yesterday it was just, they were not all together on the same page. They had Magnus jumping in, ulting with some good ults, but it was when people weren't ready or in position to follow up. Now that happened several times, so you could see that the consistency just wasn't there with them. Now as far as Alliance goes, looking at their performance as they just come off I believe 5th and 6th place spot at Star Ladder, right there with Na'Vi actually. So not performing the best that I think most people thought they would perform, but nonetheless still a very strong team. And I'm interested to see some interesting things from them today. They do ban out the Abaddon, which I don't see any teams ban out ever.
Yeah.
But they ban it out against RoX.KIS because they know that Goblik likes to play that Abaddon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just to build on that point for a minute, who would have guessed that a week after the latest star ladder at any point in Dota 2's lifespan since Alliance became a team and Na'Vi entered its current iteration, who would have thought we'd be sitting here just days after that event concludes going, oh, yeah, BT Dubs, those two teams finish in the bottom half of the standings on a LAN. You know, that's kind of the thing is, you know, whenever you, especially Na'Vi, when you look at them, yeah, sometimes they underperform in online tournaments, but, you know, that could be said of so many teams just because they're playing in so many tournaments right now that sometimes you just don't, for whatever reason, you're not on that day, or maybe you have a bad stretch in a tournament or any number of reasons. But to see both of those LAN powerhouses finish at the bottom half really shows that it's a time of shakeup and a time of change in Dota. And that's very exciting, of course, looking ahead to big LAN season with Frankfurt coming up and, of course, TI. More information bound to be released about that regarding direct invites and so on coming soon. But on to this series. Both teams really are in bad shape in the standings overall. RoX.KIS had to forfeit one match in D2L play, and they lost their two yesterday. So they're already down to 0-3, which means they have to at least split today's series, both of the doubleheader. They have to at least win one if they want to have any real chance at making it into that 500 category, if they want to have a chance to be above 50% win percentage and have any chance at making it into postseason play, even though 6 teams do make it into the postseason. So this is a very important series for them, and Alliance is not in much better shape, man. They're sitting at currently 1-4. So their chances, their chances for postseason play are not looking all that encouraging either, and they really need a win here today for sure. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting at 1-5 and stand a real chance of being left out on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And Magnus picked up for Alliance along with the puck. So that tells me it's probably going to be a farming Slark. Could be an offensive tri-lane that would work. Either way, yeah, farming Slark, solo puck, solo Magnus. Interesting stuff from Alliance. This is kind of new stuff. We don't see this too often. And from RoX.KIS, it looks like a Darkseer with a Centaur. So farming Centaur most likely, an offlane Darkseer is my guess. So some different stuff from both teams, honestly. I like Magnus as a hero, and I think as long as you have a good Magnus player, it works out. The thing is, I'm looking at this draft, I'm like, S4, okay, he plays Magnus like better than everyone else, okay. He plays Puck better than everyone else. Yeah. I'm wondering which one he'll play.
I would imagine it'll be Puck. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, when it comes to Bulldog, Bulldog has really expanded his repertoire of heroes over the last 3 to 6 months, and you know it's been one of the reasons it's been so fun to watch him stream and just watch Alliance play in general lately. We'll be Loda on the Slark. There's no surprise there. Loda's been playing a fair amount of Slark leading up to this. Yep, it will be BZZ on the Centaur, so that will be for sure a farming Centaur. And that means their late game potential is quite low, even in comparison to Alliance, which, to be honest, outside of Slark, doesn't have a ton of it either. But it also is going to give them a chance to just take complete control of the game on the back of Shadow Shaman and his strength between levels 1 and 11 in particular. I mean, he's strong all game, especially with his item development as there gets up a couple of mobility items like a Blink Dagger, Force Staff, what have you. Maybe even a BKB. Shadow Shaman with a Blink BKB is actually terrifying. No matter what stage of the game you have to deal with. But being able to farm an early Blink on the Centaur will, of course, be a pretty big deal. And it actually is going to be Bulldog starting out on the puck. And of the two, I would have guessed that it would have been S4 on the puck, but nope. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, both Magnus and Puck can offlane, but I don't think there's a whole lot of debate that Puck is the better overall offlane. So just keeping Bulldog where he's comfortable in his role, even if S4 is almost undoubtedly the better puck player.
Oh, interesting. He goes for boots first on Puck. If he finds himself in it looks like he might find himself in a dual lane. RoX.KIS loves to do some kind of dual lane action, so it looks like on paper anyway, it's going to be a dual lane top and then a dual lane bottom with Bane and Centaur. Yeah, I won't talk too much about the lanes as we might have some stuff happening. Boots coming out on EGM quickly here on the Tria Protector, so he'll be walking around with great speed and hitting for 85 damage. But yeah, I really think that S4 playing Magnus is just what you have to do when you draft Magnus on Alliance, because I really don't think that there's a better Magnus player. Like I think he is the best. He is so good at it.
I very much agree, and you know I've had that conversation with S4 himself and a few other players about, you know, Mag for a while there. He was first pick, first ban worthy. And then, you know, he got nerfed here and there, but it wasn't like he was nerfed into the ground. What he does well, he still does well. That wasn't really changed. It was more just how forgiving or unforgiving, as the case may be, the hero happens to be. And what the hero kind of morphed into is almost the same as a bad rider. It's it's so much more now. Just if you're a good Magnus player, you're going to be able to get every ounce of what he used to give you. It's just you can't casually play Magnus anymore. He's a hero you have to know and have to have practice and have to have experience on at the professional level to really shine on. And I agree with you. When it comes to those few metrics, S4 tops on the board pretty much every time he handles the big Magnosaurus. So taking a look at the lineups very quickly, S4, as we've been harping on, we'll be playing on the Magnus out of mid. We're going to have Ake playing on our Dazzle, while Slark will be farmed by Loadout of the defensive tri-lane, helped out by EGM on the tree, and Bulldog doing work on the puck out in the off lane. On the other side of the river, going to have Gold Black picking up the double damage rune. He'll be playing on the Shadow Shaman. Invoker going to be played by Solo. Going to have the Centaur taken into mid, at least for the moment, by BZZ, and we'll talk briefly about that in a moment. Then we've got Sadoy on the Darkseer out here in the off lane, and Slark getting some help now from EGM, who's rotated over Leech Seed now onto Sadoy, and doing a little bit of damage. There's a Nightmare onto him, though. Sadoy continuing to burn him down with that Ion Shell, but going to finally be chased away by EGM. Of course, we'll have Yol back on the Bane. And yeah, that completes our lineups. But mid-Centaur, I actually am surprised we don't see it more than we do. I think it's just because there are so many high-value mids in the pool right now. But I think it's very viable and very, very effective in making that hero all that much more punchy early on.
I think it's fine if you know you're soloing up against someone that can't really kill you.
Right.
There are certain solos right now in the metagame that are popular that he would get absolutely nothing. Like if he was like against an Exort Invoker, I imagine he would get close to nothing. If he was against, you know, a Shadow Fiend that had a good start with a support, making sure he gets souls at the first 2 levels, I imagine he would get absolutely nothing. So this is a matchup where it can't favor him. And we have a gank here, early attempt on the S4, but he does skewer away.
Nightmare, Sunstrike, there's the stomp on top of it. Do they have the right click? They do, with the help of the double edge. So BZZ there to secure the first blood. And S4 knew that was coming, by the way. If you look, he's got the courier hidden away in the trees here, and yes, it has a bottle on it, but I think he suspected there might be a rotation coming at some point and didn't want to even risk the courier being left out. And yeah, he chances are he actually saw it via the ward here. So, but nice play on the side of RoX.KIS. They're out to an early lead, first blood in their pocket.
Yeah, I think I was on the same page as S4. I didn't think that they'd have enough damage, but the early Sunstrike from Invoker, even it doesn't do that much damage early on. It's only 100, but every little bit counts. And then the double edge, even level 1, does a significant amount of damage. They're going to try something again.
S4 has to cut down the river, but this is actually really effective, just keeping him constantly on the back foot and unable to get comfortable in that lane. And that's, you know, the one thing that's good about Magnus out of mid is you usually can at least rely on staying in XP range and being able to secure a little bit of gold here and there with some bottle crowing and some spamming of the shockwave. But that's just not happening for him right now. He's being run in and out of lane constantly.
Yep, and yeah, like I said, I didn't think that they'd have enough damage to kill him. I think he was on the same page, but nonetheless, they get a nice pickup kill. But yeah, to touch on your point one more time, I think Centaur is going to be fine here, and he will get extra levels too, especially with a good start that he's having, and that's just going to mean a faster level 6, and that's just going to be fantastic for RoX.KIS.
Speaking of quick level 6, Bulldog certainly not struggling in the experience department. Just hit level 4 out here in this off lane, and he's even got a few CS to go with it. Not a ton, but 5, so getting a little bit of gold. Going to be a delay on the blink unless they decide to switch things up, but he will be able to get active and begin roaming around very, very soon. And to put that in perspective, S4 is actually behind in experience compared to Bulldog right now, who's up against the duo lane.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Look at you're coming out. Here comes another Sunstrike, double edge.
Oh,
we're on him.
Got him. Oh, the corpse skewering up to the high ground. But yeah, this is RoX.KIS just abusing that mag pick so effective.
I think they're just abusing the fact that they have a good matchup for Centaur in mid, and he's maxing and he's getting tons of levels up in the double edge quickly. And coupled with a Sunstrike, and now he has Stampede ready. This is a fast level 6 on Centaur.
Very tanky already, too. We can already see level 2 Shockwave just barely glancing off of him. And yeah, BZZ doesn't care to get right in front of his horn and farm directly in front of him. We're going to have to start seeing some rotations at some point, one would imagine. RoX.KIS in great shape, or Alliance just trying to get things back to even, because right now that's kind of a struggle. But yeah, I mean, if anything, Bulldog's in pretty good shape himself. He's not quite as well off as BZZ, obviously. But here's another rotation on top of S4. Yol right there with him, runs right past him, eats the shockwave, thought about nightmaring. Now we'll go ahead and do it. Here comes Centaur, and they've got Stampede, but Ake there to take the nightmare off. There's going to be a stomp that got both of them. That's going to be at least 1 kill. Now he's going to pop the Stampede and dodge out the skewer. He's still got a lot of damage, not enough mana for another nightmare for Yol. So S4 should be able to make it to safety. And yeah, Another nice play, and RoX.KIS came over to try and be a pal and ends up losing his life over it.
These two heroes, being the Bane and the Centaur, do a ton of damage, man. Like the double edge, and then the brain sap is one of the biggest nukes. Honestly, I think it does. Yeah, it does pure damage too.
Yep,
so
pure.
It's a lot bigger than you'd think, and just looking at the numbers, and that's just pretty crazy. RoX.KIS, it was a nice play right there, taking the sleep off of him. I believe it saved Magnus, because I think Magnus still would have died from all this burst. And now that he had level 4 double edge into the Centaur, and he's got level 2 hoof stomp, which actually has really good stun duration too. It's one of the better stuns in the game, honestly. They can bring down anyone, it seems, with the Sunstrike landing.
Yeah,
this is a very, very scary combo.
The amount of damage they have, especially between Sunstrike and, as you said, Double Edge at this level, is gigantic. It doesn't matter how tanky you are, and they're just going to have to end up really doing everything they can to secure Loda some chance to get into a position where he can begin to roam and take some of the edge off, as the case may be. He needs to make RoX.KIS feel a little scared, because right now they really don't care. And I am a little even surprised now that we're not seeing even more pressure being applied elsewhere. At some point, we'll see BZZ begin to rotate. There is a double damage up here in the river that will be spotted, and BZZ going to be able to jump right. Yep, he's going to go ahead and use Stampede. He's going to be skewered up to the high ground. Good play by S4. They're going to try to follow it up. Nightmare not on the way from Yol, a little bit too far away. Here comes Bulldog, ready to come up and help from the high ground. And RoX.KIS right there. There's the cold snap onto S4. There's the Nightmare. And taken off with a brain sap. And it looks like the TP was enough to force RoX.KIS to consider their decision-making. Solo, in the meantime, by the way, we haven't even talked about him, has finished up a Midas. So a very quick Midas pickup for him. That's going to pay huge dividends.
Yeah, he's got it before even boots, and that's really good for him. It's especially good for Invoker just in general. Nice play there by S4. He was actually pretty greedy, waiting for his bottle to come back to bottle up that double damage. I thought for sure he was going to die, but he did some good juking and walked the correct way. And then very good team support from the rest of Alliance, being RoX.KIS TPing up there, and then Admiral Bulldog realizing that he needed to kind of make a presence be felt so that he could save S4. Stomp here in mid. No Sunstrike available, as he is quite low mana. He did have to ferry himself one Clarity, but still quite low mana now, Invoker. So he won't have a Sunstrike for quite some time.
Loda down here at bottom is getting some farm. He's sitting at 31, still having some problems due to trying to melee last hit against the Darkseer, but running around with very little life, still getting the job done. Mag, in the meantime, out of mid, actually has farmed better overall than BZZ, but that's not the end of the world. Again, it's obvious to see he's in quite good position. He's almost 2 full levels ahead. Down at bottom, we're going to see Loda tried, almost engaged upon. He managed to pounce the safety, and can he get the Nightmare? No, he lost him in the vision. TP will be coming in to make sure he stays safe as well, so Alliance dodging a bullet there.
That was really close, actually, because if Loda jumped into one of those heroes, I think he would have killed himself. But
yep.
He managed to split the goalpost, so to speak, and was able to get away. So nicely played by Loda right there.
And Alliance is just trying to maintain. Oh, there's a poison touch on a Sadoy and a coil. Bulldog tossed it from the high ground. Now we'll try to jaunt down. He actually threw the orb, but doesn't want to go down there. Here comes Loda using the purge. Oh, Sadoy almost got away, but the damage just a little too much on the back of the fight. So a little more convoluted than I'm sure they would have liked, but still able to secure the kill. Alliance finally on the board, make it 3-1.
That was a level 1 poison touch too.
Yep.
That was like, that had to have been the last tick. Here comes the Centaur ulti up on the mid.
Yep, S4 trying to find some safety, and well dodged by him. Not stampeding, excuse me. Skewering his way to safety, while Stampede not enough to allow them to cover that distance. So straight line really is the shortest path, huh?
Yeah, yep. I didn't see the tail end of it. I just heard it and I was like, where is it coming? kind of like when you hear Sunstrikes and you're like, where is it? What's happening? What am I missing?
Yep, I hate that. You hear a Sunstrike, you start looking around, and somebody gets killed, and it's like, well, somebody's going to yell at me for that. But Goldblack has found level 6, by the way. Solo, his build, a max exhort, just 2 points into Quas so far, so they're going to be able to push this tower down very, very quickly if they want to. Glyph, of course, is up, and they will deploy it, but the wards are down. And we'll see if they're going to commit to this or if Alliance is going to get some help up here. It's just EGM at the moment, while the rest of the lanes seem pretty stable. And Tree Armor helping out a little bit, but going to be able to get some fair damage on. Here we go. Mass TPs up. There's a coil coming out, catching 2. Goldblack snaps it. Solo still inside of it. Loda engaging on the Goldblack. Sunstrike off the mark. And there's a shockwave from S4 and RP spent just to get one more kill. And they managed to keep the tower up and get a couple of kills aside from that. And we can see RoX.KIS in the meantime trying to do some damage down to the bottom tier 1 as well. But overall, big win for Alliance as they get on the board in a big way. They did lose their puck in the meantime, though, and that alone mitigates the win a smidge.
And he's gone for the arcane boots as well. That's kind of interesting. I kind of like that this game, but this is why I think puck offlane, or just puck in general, is so good for that reason alone. If you have people pushing a tower, but they're not fully committing with 5 heroes, if puck has a blink, or even just in the right position to set up with a coil, you coil, mass TP, and they cannot get away. It's such a great combo. It's one of the reasons why I love puck so much, and he's so effective in almost any lineup. So nicely played there by Alliance. They do get a tower in the bottom for RoX.KIS. And I was going to say before that engagement, I really like just in general this Invoker plus Rasta combination. Not just so much for the lane, but just in general. Like, these heroes push so freaking hard.
Yeah, well, not just that. I mean, think about how hard it is to engage into them, even if you're a 2-man party. You have to deal with Shackles, Hex, and, of course, Cold Snap. That alone makes it very difficult to come into a fight and feel confident that you're going to be able to execute any sort of combination unless you're able to stun both initially. And in the case of Alliance, they sent a lot of personnel and managed to make it work out for them. But coming back around to the puck, he is quite far from his Blink Dagger, and that's something that's going to be an ongoing issue if Bulldog can't keep himself alive. He needs to be surviving these fights. He is almost level 7, as we saw, using the coil. But so long as he can get a blink up, I feel like Alliance is going to be okay. Until he does, even with a mag, I worry about his ability to really have as big an impact as he would like. The coil shouldn't be a problem to get off. It's the follow-ups and his overall survivability and ability to stretch these fights out. But we will have a kill on the S4 again down in the jungle. And there's going to be the Stampede popped, and they're going to be able to escape. Lotus coming around, looking to catch one of them, and we'll be able to spot one. He spotted 2, actually. But now up at top, we can see a kill onto Tree as the wards went down again. RoX.KIS committing to this top tier 1 and getting some damage done. And while Loda and Ake decide to push out in mid.
Do you remember that one game when we were watching Alliance versus Fnatic and Hani came and stole S4's bottle? Well, that happened again. S4, he was bottle throwing, dropped his bottle. Look at Centaur, BZZ.
Oh, hang on. Sadoy caught with a coil here in mid and will be blown up. Here it comes. Oh, there's a nice stomp. Got all 3, and they're going to follow it up. Got 2 with it as BZZ, with the help of Solo and, of course, Yul, able to get some immediate payback for the loss of their Darkseer. And this Centaur pick is paying huge dividends. He's almost level 11. And the blink already being shown off in big fashion. RoX.KIS now doubling up Alliance. We're 12.5 minutes in. And we can see 7,500 gold is the lead RoX.KIS has built so far.
Oh, and the help of S4's bottle. Now he's using it to fill up the Bane. He's using his bottle on Bane. Oh, S4. There's got to be a stat for most bottles fed to the other team. Because he's up there. That is unfortunate. I feel really bad for him.
Alliance in position. Oh, there we go. Another blink stomp on the EGM. There's going to be a Sunstrike to follow. Oh, good grave. Okay, there to help him out. Behind that, though, RP canceled out. S4. There, now he spins against Solo and Sadoy. There's Loaded to follow it up. They managed to bring down one. Stampede used, but BZZ caught with a poison touch. Will drop before he can get off the double edge. Solo did make it to safety. But RoX.KIS, who was in a great position, now there's a Hex on Loda, however, able to purge it off. And Cold Snap allowing a little extra damage. Another orb, but no jaunt to it. Bulldog very low on mana right now. Has coil off cooldown. Needs mana, though. His arc boots up in 15 seconds. Rest of Alliance pushing in the tier 1. RoX.KIS just trying to hold serve. Down go the wards from Goldblack just to make sure they have to vacate the high ground in front of that tier 1. So for the moment, a break in the action. However, nice set of plays out of Alliance, and they at least stop the bleeding, if not get a tourniquet on.
That was a questionable ultimate there from Goldblack. I don't think that Alliance were going to pursue. If you looked at the mana and health of a lot of the members, they were quite low. So
yeah,
he was just very adamant about protecting his towers. And I know that's good because mid towers are very important, and they have all their towers up, so they can continue to keep their towers up. They're going to be in a fantastic position. But nonetheless, great bounce back there from Alliance. They have a lot of healing capabilities. Ake's playing out of his mind, by the way. Like top he TP'd to save early on S4. He's been all around the map. His graves are on point. So Ake's really keeping him in this game so far, and he's level 8, so that's just going to continue to become even better. He is going to be secondary maxing this shallow grave, which I think is great. It increases the range by quite a lot, actually. It's 1,000 range level 4, and the cooldown is extremely increased.
Lotus spotted out, was hiding out in the tree. Stomp actually missed the mark. Loda, in the meantime, Invis hiding in the trees. Does he know where he is? Now he's going to pounce back in the lane, followed up from the Centaur. There's Stampede, and uses the double edge. Should be able to track him down, and does. That's a big kill, as Loda is one of the very few that have been doing well on the side of Alliance in the overall. And we can see now he drops. That makes him 2-2. And in terms of overall net worth, he was right on par, he and S4, but now beginning to fall behind as Centaur, about 5,500, and the Invoker with that early Midas beginning to pay off hugely, as he's way ahead of everyone else, sitting at just about 8K net worth.
Yeah, the great thing with RoX.KIS in their lineup is, as I mentioned, this Invoker Rasta, like, whenever they want to push, you have very, very good counter push with Magnus and Puck and whatnot, but they're not going to kill the wards. They're not really going to kill the Forge Spirits that well, and they're not going to kill your Necro minions that fast. So those things are still going to stay, and now here comes a Roche attempt, and it's going to die fast. Hopefully Alliance, for their sake, can get a tier 1 tower out of it. They're pinging out. They know what's going on, but I don't think they have any business stopping this. Look how fast it's going.
Yep. They're a little too spread out at the moment. And we can see the orb tossed in, but little too late, as Solo is the one to pick that up. Has an Aegis. Has his book too, by the way, already up. And they're going to get here in time to defend. We're going to see y'all in some trouble, but there's an overgrowth to lock them both down. Vacuum into the wall. Should be enough to force them away. Sudoi can't do much, but do some damage as he waves goodbye. And even though BZZ was on the way, another TP out secures everyone home safe. But more importantly, that tower still standing for RoX.KIS. So all of that map control still within their grasp.
Nice explosive play from EGM and S4, able to get at least that kill on Bane. It was quite close because the Met came out from Darkseer. Almost didn't get it, but nice explosive play there.
Blink Dagger getting very close now for Bulldog. Very important item for him in terms of his impact overall in these fights. The Blink is up on S4 as well. Taking a look at Loda, we haven't really talked a whole lot about his build. He's picked up the Point Booster as well as his Orb of Venom, so would seem that an early Scotty could be on the way. But in the meantime, BZZ sitting on Blink Dagger plus a Blade Mail, and he's feeling very, very tanky and only going to get more and more so. Mech's done on the Darkseer. Goldblack in the meantime. Actually, Goldblack picked up a Midas himself. I hadn't even noticed that until this very second. So Goldblack should be, the longer this game goes, the more impactful he's going to be item-wise. And again, we were talking during the draft, just how terrifying a Rasta is once he gets a Blink and a BKB or a Blink 4-staff BKB, something like that. He becomes so hard to deal with. Or you can just say the hell with it and go straight up Ag's Refresher.
Dude, that is so devastating if you get it. I like the Midas, actually. I know a lot of people hated that whole Midas meta game. Did you remember that?
Oh, I was one of them. I was one of them. I was so sick of it.
I didn't mind it, honestly, because it was like boring for like the first 20, 25 minutes, and then bam, everyone had all these freaking items. And it was awesome to see just like the explosion of farm and experience, and then you'd see them go out. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I just think Midas is a really good item.
Yeah.
I know people think the metagame's over. I still think it's a little underutilized on some supports in some situations. So I like this pickup from Goldblack. It's going to mean a level 16 faster, which is amazing on a hero like Rasta. And as you mentioned, Ag's Refresher, my god, if there's any support that can kill bases faster, there isn't, because it's him. So, yeah.
If there's any support that can kill bases faster, you're a liar, because there is none.
There you go.
But, yeah, I play a lot of Rasta, actually, personally, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. Going into the late game, because it's so fun to build out that way, even though...
You fedora it?
Shush. Quiet, you. Oh, I'm going to box cutter your face, too, if you're not careful. We got a rotation up to top. S4 and EGM a little overextended right now. Here we go. Sudoi coming in. There's a Stampede. Goldblack right there. There's the Vacuum. Spots out EGM, who uses the overgrowth. He's trying to get away. One TP was secured by that. They committed wholly to one target. That should have been a double kill, but just good separation there out of Alliance, allowing them to get at least one home safely. The Aegis is still up for another 3 minutes, and now's the time I think we should expect to see them try to do something big with it. Bring down their first tier 2.
Yeah, and Goldblack actually sheeped a creep right there, but it didn't matter in the slightest. And right now I'm looking at how Alliance is trying to play this when they're getting picked off like that. And it wasn't that EGM was out of position. It was just like they have to try to play in a little greedy manner and split push when they can. Wards come down deployed by Goldblack, but the thing is they're playing this as if they need to just split push and dodge fights, but they don't really have the appropriate heroes to do so. Like, they don't have like a Furion to split push, they don't have a Lycan to split push and just avoid fights, because right now their team fight, despite having the blink on Mac, it's not there. They don't have damage.
Yep, I completely agree. I mean, they have a team that should be wanting to fight right now. I mean,
Yeah.
A Slark can be a pain in the ass come the late game, but doesn't mean that he should be farmed like a pure late game, rice and run kind of a carry. This is when they should be wanting the fight with a puck, with a blink, with a mag, with a blink, and instead they're tucked. Yeah, exactly. Instead I didn't even notice a blink on Loda. Good call. But instead they're kind of tucked up under their own towers, and trading tier 1s for tier 2s is really not the best method to get yourself back into contention. Is at this point we're at just over 20 minutes and about 10,000 gold is the overall lead for RoX.KIS. That's that 500 gold per minute lead mark that they've set so far. You don't see that all that often, and they're just in great shape.
Yeah, and I talked yesterday when RoX.KIS drafted the mag several times how as you get just further and further behind, it becomes that much more difficult to actually get off very, very flashy RPs.
Yep.
Because when you have more farm on the team that you're playing up against, they can play spread out. They can afford to bait one hero, and because he'll be just that much more tanky with more items and more farm. So
right.
it makes it much more difficult for the Magnus player to find openings. When you're up ahead or just even, it's much easier to find heroes clumped up. But when they're ahead, it's not so much.
Loda chopping away at the tier 1 top while the rest of RoX.KIS waits to respawn. But yeah, Loda really I haven't felt a lot of impact from him in particular. I mean, granted, he is just a Slark and really the two huge heroes in terms of, hold on, we're going to, nice ward trap onto S4 in mid. Sunstrike's there along with the Fiend's Grip. He will be grave though. Go Black in the meantime though, gets off the shackles. And S4 had his time on Earth extended. Solo got an eye on him, but unable to stop the teleport out. So at the very least, RoX.KIS able to minimize the damage. They did end up losing Y'all amidst all of the action as well. So, but now the problem is, RoX.KIS with the Necro creeps down. This is off of a book 3. They're going to feel plenty empowered to go for this, even without Gold Black's wards.
Yeah, and there's no buyback on Mag yet. Or, sorry, I should say on S4. He just bought an Ogre Club, so he doesn't have enough for that. I don't know if they're going to get racks out of this, but they might be able to get this tower.
Yep.
The living armor just does not do anything against all the extra damage, and they're going to do some damage to these racks. So yeah, he changes his position or his attention to the range racks because he knows he might not get them. Loda unfortunately misses the blink pounce.
Yep.
But here comes the stun.
Follow up from BCC. There's the deafening blast on top of it, and Bulldog taking a lot of damage in the meantime. He's going to be able to make it away. That was actually a really nice move. Basically solo Olayed both of them. We're going to see EGM get a kill on the tower at top. Sadoy's right there with him though. TP'd in just as he brought the tower down and now trying to chase him down. And looks like EGM is hidden for the moment. Elsewhere, looks like both teams spread out. EGM is like, I'm just a normal tree. Don't worry about it. I'm right here. I'm just a tree. And he's going to be able to make it away, so nice play from him.
Yep, unfortunately no reveal here for RoX.KIS, but
RP
okay.
in mid. Solo in trouble. BCC right there to try and help, but he's outmanned and outgunned. Down goes the weave. He has the blade mail popped. Loda on him though, and trying to do what damage he can. Pounces back to the low ground. That was a long-range Ether Shock. Holy crap. He shot that from behind the tower.
Well, he actually shot it and then blinked immediately after,
yeah.
So it looked like...
Yeah, I didn't I caught it out of the corner of my eye. Just saw the lightning bolts, but yep, good to know that's how that looks. Y'all in the meantime gets off the brain sap after being engaged upon. He's still alive. Nice skewer back from S4. That'll secure another kill. Now a two-man coil. BZZ very low on health. Sadoy standing right there as well. That was a very well-timed blink. Sadoy's going to end up dropping after another good pounce out of Alliance, and now they're beginning to flex their muscles and show why this team composition should be feared, and they get another one as S4 tallies the double kill, able to track down BZZ. And suddenly it's RoX.KIS who's on the ropes. And Alliance beginning to try to turn this around. They get another tower, and just like that, they're down to only tier 2s on the side of RoX. Still a long way to go, but certainly a step in the right direction for A. Here we go, another engagement on the solo. He's dead for free. No follow-up, no damage done. And yeah, I don't know if RoX.KIS is just coming apart at the seams or what, but they've given up so much ground in the last 2 minutes.
They're not respecting the damage output that's now finally coming out from Alliance, and honestly, this blink is kind of paying off for Loda. I was skeptical at first too, but it seems to just be a long range, 100% accuracy on the pounce.
Yep.
That's what's happening. Goblak, oh, fast fingers there as he gets the blink out, and we'll be okay for the time being. Becomes counter initiation though from Centaur.
Nope, just buying time for Goldblack to run away. Goldblack didn't have a TP and didn't have room for a TP. So unable to get himself to safety, had to use the Stampede to get back. But in the meantime, Loda does finish that Scotty, and straight up blink tread Scotty. So very clear-cut build for him, and we'll start to see that come into effect soon, I'm sure. Tree, in the meantime, is going for a Vlad's now, and S4 trying to make headway towards that BKB. He's got 2,500 gold tucked away towards it. Taking a look at the overall net worth, though, Solo still quite far ahead. He's about half of a big item ahead of everyone else at the moment. Roche will be responding here in about the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, Scotty's really good for a load of this game, and I'll tell you why. I think normally I'm not the biggest fan of it first on Slark, but whenever you have a Magnus, I feel like the biggest key is to getting your teammates tanky. And the reason for that is as long as you make them tanky, it makes the other team like try harder and longer to bring that hero down. And normally that equates to them clumping up. Like if you're tanky, they take forever. Just kill them. The last auto attacks, and then they're all clumped up. Boom, 5-man RP. And that's general. And then also you have the tree armor as well to help out with that to keep them alive. You have Dazzle, Heal, and Grave to help keep them alive. So this lineup is starting to come to fruition here.
Double smoke, almost within the second of each other. They're going to run right into Solo. And he was the only one separated out from RoX.KIS and got spotted immediately, brought down by Alliance quick fast. And RoX still on the other side of the river under cover of smoke. Here comes S4. He's going to blink ahead. Smoke revealed. And RoX, I'm kind of, yeah, they're good. Whoa, nice phase shift from Bulldog and the Waning Rift to silence him as soon as he came out. So BZZ giving himself away, and the rest of RoX going to have to follow up. Though Loda wants to engage, he's going to catch a couple. Blade Mail doing sufficient damage to force him to back off and wait on team support. And now there's a Nightmare onto Loda. Just heard a coil go down that ends up catching a couple here. There's going to be an RP spin on both BZZ and Sadoy. The follow-up in the AoE is there. Wall went down, but too little too late. Gold Black dropped his wards just to try and secure a chance to escape. But just like that, they end up losing another 3. They only got the tree in return. And Alliance is counter-punching in a big, big way. They have cut the lead that RoX had built down by 50% at 26 minutes. Phenomenal play.
It's really fun to watch them when they get the ball rolling because, like, I think there's no better word than just explosive for Alliance, especially just S4. Like, they're very, very impulsive. They're very fast. And I'm pretty sure that they can go and initiate on people without having to say anything to each other. They just know, and that's when it's really fun to watch a team because they just communicate so well without communicating. If that makes any sense at all. The wards were deployed bottom, but it did get a kill on the tree, so at least good for Goblak there. And yeah, it seems like Alliance have crept their way back into this. They're actually leading upwards of 6,000 experience. Gold is still in favor of RoX.KIS, but that seems kind of negligible at this point. They will be able to have nice access to Roshan, which is, you know, one of the benefits of being on Dire with good push and good abilities to push and take down towers because it takes down Roshan just as fast.
Roche down to about half health already. Alliance is moving in that direction. They're going to be tardy to the party. They don't have RP to call upon either. 30 seconds on cooldown. In the meantime, Mag did finish his BKB. They're going to know. They let this one slip. And let's see. Yep, there's the immediate orb in. No John to it, though. And RoX is just kind of hanging out at the moment. Just kind of kicking it. There we go. I was going to say, you guys just going to sit at the bottom of the steps. Alliance trying to decide where they want to commit. Looks like they're anticipating the movement up and around. And there's the orb. And nope, didn't John to it. Loda went for it, though. Here comes Bulldog blinking in. Nice 2-man coil that caught Sadoy and Yol. Stomped to disjoint things, but RP! Got the majority of them. Down go the wards as well. Now the re-engagement. Nice overgrowth coming out from EGM, but the damage is just lacking a little bit. We see Alliance having to pull back and retreat while Loda dies amidst the Fiend's grip in the middle of it. So Yol re-engaging after that. The follow-up to the RP, not really there. There's a stomp on the S4. Sunstrike off the mark, however, not even needed as they secure yet another kill. And RoX.KIS, just like that, has taken the wind out of Alliance's sails. It felt like Alliance was on a huge streak of momentum. But by the time all was said and done, RoX walking away with a very big win there. Cost them a Darkseer and nothing else.
I think they're getting way too overzealous on Alliance. Like, they're fighting up here. They both blinked up into here, into the RoX.KIS side of the map without very much vision, if any vision. And they're doing it against a team that has the Aegis and now Scythe of Ice just completed onto Invoker.
Right.
I don't think you should be fighting that aggressively into an Aegis. It seems kind of silly to me. Especially, I mean, you have been winning these engagements, but most of the engagements they've been winning have been 4v5 because they've been able to pick off like one before a fight starts with Slark and Puck or Magnus. So, yeah, that was kind of overzealous there from Alliance.
EGM got a look at Sadoy as he cut through, and they're going to engage on him. He's got a mech, but not going to have a chance to use it. Here comes BZZ to help out, though. Sunstrike on the mark. Vacuum into it, and now the rest of the team engaging. Here comes Goldblack trying to help out. Shackles up, but Overgrowth disjoints it. EGM, in the meantime, hit with the Grave. He'll be able to retreat. Rest of RoX, though, trying to find them. There's going to be a blink away from S4 and EGM, waddling himself to safety. So, a lot of abilities used, but on the whole, Alliance just ends up giving up their puck and bringing no one down from RoX.KIS. And right now, the issues we saw yesterday from RoX, outside of a time or two, they really shored that up. We're not seeing this failure to respond. We're not seeing that lack of communication. And it's paying huge dividends for them as they're now going to take at least another tier 2. No way they can really fight this out. And down it goes. So just as it looked like Alliance was getting things together, back down to just about a 5-digit gold lead for RoX, and the experience is down towards the 0 line.
Yep, and oh my god, the damage increase from for the Mass Serpent Wards with the Scepter now up on Shadow Shaman, and he's 16. Oh, and he has 3k gold. Oh my god, I love watching Rasta get to this point because he can take over a base all by himself. Sunstrike to hit Loda does significant damage as it takes him down to half HP, but yeah, RoX.KIS, they have everything they need to. Right now, Alliance, they need to wait out this Aegis. Or they need to find Solo in a very, well, Solo situation and kill him twice when he's outside of the rest of his team. Very nicely played by, again, I have to ask you, BZZ is 6'3", so
yes.
I keep forgetting.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
He's been playing very well this game, finding double stuns all the time, using his ultimate when he needed to. He played fantastically in the early game, so just well played by him overall. And also Goldblack, he has got so much freaking farm. We talked about the Midas in the beginning. It's definitely paid off.
Here's a Sunstrike somewhere. Didn't see where it connected.
It was by the puck in mid, but didn't hit anything.
Roger that. Damn you, Solo, making me look all over the map. But yeah, Loda is getting a lot of help from his support. Seen him clear the Ancient stack a couple of times now, and that's helping make up some ground. Now, though, this is where things get really tricky. What in the hell do you do with a Centaur that's almost level 16, has a Blade Mail up, and just finished a Heart?
Oh, God. Well, it's hard because when you're down, you're normally like just split push and fight in the base. But fighting in the base is something you don't want to do if you're Alliance, because that's when wards just get thrown down. That's when the Necro Creeps come out and Forge Spirits and Alacrity on one of them or two,
right,
multiple of them. So you just have to find solo pickoffs. You have to be crafty about where you're ganking, some crafty smoke ganks. Another Sunstrike hits Admiral Bulldog, gets him down to half HP, but he'll be healed up. So yeah, you got to find pickoffs.
S4 spotted out by Yol, and the rest of Alliance running as 5. Looks like RoX.KIS ready to take a fight. Now, this is a tricky position if you're Alliance. Like you said, they kind of have to go for solo pickoffs. They have to try and find an alternative way in outside of just rat it out and fight in the base for all the reasons you just named. But when you get spotted out like this, now you all 5 have to retreat back to the base while RoX.KIS is running down a lane. You're almost out of choices now, because if you try to be cute and try to go split push when all of your other lanes are pushed in, they're just going to go straight to your tier 3s and you have to come back anyway. This is a good chance, though. BZZ spotted out, pops the Blade Mail immediately. There's the BKB. Nope, no RP needed or used. There it is. Got 2. Sodoi caught with it. Overgrowth to follow it up. They will be able to bring down BZZ. This is what they needed more than anything, and I have no idea why RoX.KIS decided to split up in this opportunity. Behind that, we actually see Ake hit with the Nightmare and the Shackles to follow it up. Wards went down from Goldblack. They might be able to clean him up, and they do. And now Solo engaged upon by Loda from behind. Hit with the Pounce. Do they have any detection? Goldblack's right there. Hits Loda with the Hex. And the Coil's going to go down for Bulldog. He's back up. Nightmare had him locked down. Goldblack silenced out by Bulldog. And it looks like Loda should be able to clean up at least one. He's going to get a gem out of it, maybe. Gem on the ground. He's just cleaning up the creeps at the moment. But
S4's getting after these wards. Goldblack, oh my god, so close. Captain Blast secures that from Solo.
Nice play. Goldblack next on the list, though, as he's trying to retreat. And Loda able to pounce onto him, got hexed, but a little too late as the last bit of damage on the mark. And we can see Solo still hanging around under cover of Ghost Walk. And yeah, I guess maybe looking up. He's going to get his gem back. So at the very least, Loda didn't have any room to pick it up. So yeah, able to pick up the gem, and Loda got to be regretting not grabbing that. At the moment, though, Sodoi could be a target as we see a regen picked up by Loda. It's going to come down to how quick he can do this. He missed with the Pounce, and now trying to get onto him, doing some damage with the Dark Pact.
You can bait this out. Invoker's coming with the Blink Hex.
Up, here we go. Solo right there with him. There's Stampede and the Hex. Tree Armor was already up, though. They don't have the damage. Stomp a little bit off. Now he'll be able to follow it up. But the Pact already there and now pouncing away. Let's see if they can catch up with him. They've got Sadoy in tow as well. The rest of Alliance collapsing to help. Looks like they're going to give up the pursuit wisely, as RoX.KIS was already on the way, while EGM actually wasn't even on the way. So nonetheless, Alliance able to dodge a bit of a bullet there, and this is where mid and late game Slark just becomes such an annoyance. You just can't kill the bastard.
Yeah, he's really going to need some damage now, though, as we get into this portion of the game, because they need to kill off. That was a really good pick-off and initiation from Alliance. They have so much long-range initiation, especially with Slark with the blink on mag, blink on puck, and whatnot. They have long-range initiation. They can catch people outside when they're like not all as 5. As you mentioned, they weren't all grouped up together, and they recognized that. They found the opportunity, and they went for it. If RoX.KIS isn't like that, though, if they're all grouped up at 5, that's when it's scary. So if they can find them separated for just a moment and they're ready, that's the initiation that they can look for.
See, that's exactly what I was saying when that fight broke out. I have no idea why RoX was split up. They had Alliance on the run, and they had to fall back to their tier 3 because that lane was sufficiently pushed, as were the other lanes, that they weren't going to be able to go rat it out and try to counter push a tier 2. It just wasn't a possibility. But bit of a questionable piece of decision making from RoX.KIS, but a wonderful capitalization from Alliance as they're continuing to extend this game. And now Puck has up his Scythe of Ice, and you know, any hex that comes out at any point's a big deal, but on a Puck in particular, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a tool that they need for these fights. Godblock went for the BKB, so going for much more of a safe route. I would have liked to see the refresher. I really would. I think it's just amazing on him, but who wants the more safe route, I suppose?
Loda tried to engage, down go the wards. He actually just whiffed it. Now has to use his ulti to retreat. We can see S4 eating a lot of damage off of these wards. Now they want to come back in, stomp on the EGM. Grave is there from RoX.KIS. RoX.KIS biffs it. There's an RP. The disjoints the fight. Let's see if they have any damage to follow it up. They already lost too many, though. The damage was too high to begin, and by the time the RP came, RoX.KIS just too tanky, too survivable, and they take an easy set of racks. Now going to rotate down to bottom. Taking a look at the buyback status. Oh, there's no buyback for Loda. He's about 170 gold short. They're going to be able to take 2 sets of racks easy. RP on cooldown. Bulldog is also down. His buyback still 2 minutes off. Yeah, this is probably GG.
It's going to be close. I mean, they're going to be down significant amount, 4 racks, and I think the Alliance will still play this out because they're still like doing okay in fights when they get the right angles. But yeah, this is definitely RoX.KIS' game to lose now. That was like totally Benny Hill theme song worthy, by the way, because Golblack blinked in BKB and then ward trapped himself. And then the RP came out and actually pulled him out of his own ward trap. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. But nonetheless, huge fight and huge win there for RoX.KIS.
Yep. Well, everything about that was kind of wonky. Loda went in and then pounced through the entirety of RoX.KIS. Like, he had a bunch of targets fairly well grouped up and just didn't connect on any of them. Then the rest after that was just kind of a mess. S4 got pounded by the wards when he came in, and he had to disengage, then re-engage, and hit a good RP, but by the time he did, unfortunately, the damage was done, and they just didn't have any follow-up. RoX.KIS was there and hit a very nice grave, but ended up dying in return for it, so it ended up being a 1-for-1 at best. But it looks like Roche is up. RoX.KIS aware of it. They smoke under their own tier 2. And Alliance likely to take a gamble here. This Roche should drop quickly, but not quickly enough, as RoX is right there with him. They might call GG if they wipe here. Here we go. There's the stomp. Got everyone. And now the follow-up. Vacuum into the wall. Golblack's there with him. Got the wards down. RP's going to be spent as it's fresh off cooldown, though. Loda coming back in to do what damage he can. Are you kidding me? Alliance has a chance to turn this around. BZZ might end up dropping behind him if Loda can get on him. S4 cleans him up with one last shockwave. Feeds grip, not enough. In the meantime, we see Golblack takes the Aegis of all people as his wards finish things off. Alliance likely to end up winning this fight, and they will. Buyback from BZZ, not going to accomplish much. Solo making a run for it, back to his own tier 2. And speaking of Benny Hill music, I think it's another time for that. Loda pounces past BZZ, lands on the low ground, and S4 decides that it's a good time to dive tier 3s, as they're going to try to do something to bring down the racks. Another pounce. This time it connects. BZZ off with the stomp, canceled it mid-animation, and they managed to bring down Solo again. Jim on the ground, and here goes BZZ. He went for it, and he's going to have to stomp to get him back to safety. Poison touch up to the high ground. Another big pounce, and he uses the ultimate, but he's going to end up dropping and feeding the Jim. That's 5 down. And Golblack, who was the one who picked up the, I'm pretty sure he picked up the Aegis. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that the wards brought it down. I don't see it on anyone from Alliance, so yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he killed it with his wards.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he took the Aegis because he was dead, but he took the Roshan kill with the wards that were still in the pit, which is really smart because there was no way any member of RoX.KIS was getting that. But nonetheless, Alliance, could we smell a comeback here? They're definitely pushing in these fights, and it's fun to watch.
The courier just died to Loda. What is going on? They're going to catch GoldBlack. GoldBlack caught out, and he BKBs right before he dies. What is going on? I don't know. I've got nothing. Like, look at this. This is ridiculous. Alliance just killing them as they come out. We're going to see another kill onto Yol this time, and chasing Sadoy all the way back to the well. Alliance is somehow just breaking this game open. They lost 2 racks, and now they've got Bulldog back at base trying to keep the lanes out while the rest just clear towers, but they still have a long road to go because of the strength of the mega creeps coming down 2 of their lanes. But the last, I don't know, 5 minutes after that fight that gave them 2 sets of racks down, RoX.KIS has honestly just been a wreck. They have been a mess.
I mean, it's still going to be an uphill battle here for Alliance. Yeah. I'm going to check the graphs. I bet they're winning by experience. I bet they are. Yep. They're winning by about 6,000 experience, just about. But they're still trailing significantly in gold. But yeah, I don't know, man. This is crazy. Like, this could be a game for Alliance, and it would be a very fun one in the books if they actually were to come back. They have creep support here in mid. They could take this down, but members are starting to respawn here for RoX.KIS in just a few seconds.
And Loda going to be hit with a Hex. Don't know if they're going to get anything out of it. Weave used by OK. Here comes Sadoy on in. Good damage done. There's going to be another RP, though. And BZZ is going to end up dropping amidst all of it. He's down. The wards are down. There's going to be S4 caught with a Fiend's Grip. But there's the overgrowth of disjointed. GoldBlack was caught amidst his BKB through it as well. And now he's going to end up dropping. That's 4 for nil. OK still alive thanks to his grave. And the rest of what is happening? Buyback from GoldBlack as Loda continues to chop wood here in the shadow of the tier 3. GoldBlack doesn't have wards up, doesn't have refresher.
Doesn't have wards, doesn't have BKB.
And he's caught! Another pounce. S4 follows it up. He's down. What? I don't believe what I'm seeing. Alliance might have a chance to push for tier 4s if they want. This is going to be 1 set of racks down. That's what they're going to do. Going right for the throne. Only Solo is up right now. He's staggering out in the lane like a drunk man hungover. EGM tanking through this. S4's right there with them. Loda going to town. Hex on the Solo. Can they catch him? They got him in the Waning Rift. He makes it back into the well. In the meantime, though, the tier 4 is taking what damage they can. They may have to back. That might have just been enough to delay this. Loda in rough shape. Here we go. They're going to re-engage. There's a beautiful vacuum. Down comes the rock, and Alliance may have overstayed their welcome. We're going to see S4 BKB and run. Overgrowth buys a little bit of time for S4 and Loda to make it away. Doesn't look like EGM will be as lucky. So finally, RoX.KIS able to shake it off and get it together. And Alliance unable to bring down any of the tier 4s, but with RoX now up 4 strong against the 2 of Alliance, only Loda and S4 are still up. And let's take a look and see. Yep, Loda in damn good shape. S4, RP's up. They're going to just go for a death push now. What do you give their chances?
Well, Loda just got a DD, and he has Empower on him. He's hitting for like 700 damage almost.
Jesus Christ.
Look at this. So if they're able to jump him, as long as he doesn't get a Hex, he has a Butterfly. He also has a buyback if he dies. They can go YOLO here. And Magnus has an RP. Do they have buybacks? They should, because they just got a shitload of gold.
He's got an eye on him. He's going to go for it. Solo is going to end up dropping immediately. Just brought down so quick. Here come the TPs in. And the rest of RoX.KIS has to run. EGM back up off the buyback, as is OK. Loda misses with the pounce. Doesn't matter. He is just doing work. The DD, not even in effect for that last one, and still only taking a few swipes. Solo is down for the count. He cannot buy back. 60 seconds on him. Bane, same story. He is down for the entirety of his respawn. The rest of Alliance beginning to push out. They're leaving Bulldog back. Bulldog has basically done nothing but play tower defense for the last 10 minutes while his team has just gone total freaking ham. Loda leading the charge, hitting so very hard. 350 damage a shot and hitting very fast as well. Even has the butterfly up. Up atop, BZZ and Sadoy guarding this tower and knowing they can't come anywhere near this 4-man party. They will just die so quickly. They're just bringing down buildings at this point, waiting on creeps.
It looks like a solo kill perhaps for Goldblack. He wants to get something. Nope, he's not going to find it. So they finally have creep support in mid. They have about 12 to 15 seconds before they actually have some aggression come onto them.
Tier 4s being engaged upon. Solo's up in 10. Down goes 1. They got to get on the Ancient right now. S4 has RP. Here we go. They're going to go in. There's the vacuum, but the RP caught 2 again. They're going to be able to bring them down 1 by 1. BCC skewered back, and what a play by S4. Disjointed by Bane, only temporarily. Loda ends up dying, though. And finally, RoX.KIS able to turn one around in their favor. Buyback immediately on the Darkseer. It's going to be death push for death push as Loda and Mag both buy back to make sure that they can stand the incoming storm. That's going to be 2-minute-long respawn timers now on Dazzle as well as the Tree as they bought back mere minutes ago. Alliance now back in the... Basically, this is just back and forth. Both of these teams are throwing haymaker after haymaker, just trying to break the jaw of the other.
I think if you're RoX.KIS, you take a deep breath because Roshan's going to be up soon, relatively soon at least in the scope of this entire game. They do know that 2 members are down. Do they have wards up? 50 seconds. So unfortunately, they don't have wards. They have Refresher actually up onto him as well, and he has the gold for it. So maybe take a deep breath and wait for that. Wait for Roshan. Don't take any more chances. I don't know. They could. Yeah, it's going to be too late. These 2 heroes are respawning anytime soon. So I think
good call.
RoX.KIS, take a deep breath. Wait for Roshan. Get your Refresher up. Get your double ulti up on Shadow Shaman, and then you can go for the death push. But if you try to do anything before that, it's going to be too risky in a game that's this close. I can't believe I'm saying that it's this close because I thought Alliance were down for the count.
20,000 gold. Alliance trailed at one point, just shy of 20,000 gold. The experience right at 10,000. Alliance leads in experience now. The gold, though, cut down to a quarter of what it was just 10 minutes ago. And this is one of the more insane 10 minutes of Dota I've ever casted. Just the back and forth, the total back and forth. RoX.KIS, well, I mean, they tried like hell to throw. They really did. And they threw away a lot of their lead. It's just good for them that they had built a sufficient enough lead that they could get away with a toss or 2 in the later stages of this game. Alliance now, though, back up as 5, and this is where things get sketchy. Tier 4s are missing for RoX.KIS. 1 Tier 4 still standing for Alliance, and they're just going to death push themselves. They have superior team fight if they can hit things before they lose their big team fight heroes. If Mag ends up dying before he can get off an RP, this could be a disaster. They're just going to go for it. Loda leading off, going right to work. RoX has got to come back quickly. There's an enfeeble onto Loda. Let's see how they want to engage this. Both teams spread out massively. BZZ is up to the top. They're losing base back at home. So they have to decide where they want to commit because they're up. Here we go. BKB used. There's going to be an engagement right onto Yol. Yol left out. There's going to be an RP. Actually whiffed. S4 got no one with it, so wasted opportunity there. Now the re-engagement out of RoX.KIS. Behind that, we've got BZZ hit with the Hex. Solo is going to end up dropping to Loda. Overgrowth, holding him in place. There's going to be a 3-man coil. Buyback now out of Solo. S4 has to get back out of the fight. There's going to be a grave that keeps EGM alive for the moment. Loda going to be hit with the shackles. They can't get him out of it. Not enough damage to follow up. S4 Cal coming in. There's a Hex to follow, but not enough damage. Triple kill for Loda as Solo has to run. Stomp is there, but the toss, the tornado, getting Loda into the air actually may have saved him there. The rest of RoX falling back. S4 and company selling out on the Ancient for the moment. RoX.KIS trying to scramble to find an answer to Loda. There's going to be another stomp. Do they have the damage? No, S4. They're just giving him the great shackles, bought enough time to bring him down. S4 now next on the list. They end up getting BCC. He's going to sell out. BKBing and selling out on the Ancient. There's going to be a grave from Ake. Isn't enough. Stomp now onto Ake as he's punished. The Ancient down to about a quarter, but they're able to hold for the moment. Look at the base back home. Look at the base back home. RoX is going to end up winning this with nothing but creeps. Buyback from Bulldog. The creeps going to work. Here comes Solo. Solo teleporting in off of the boots of travel. And they're going to end up taking this game off of Alliance in what has to be one of the most long sequences of 5-man sellout base races I've ever seen in Dota history. 48 minutes and 50 seconds. And I have not been yelling for that long and longer than I can remember. Just constant back and forth. And Alliance ends up dropping to RoX after selling out, and the creeps doing the work for them. What a crazy game.
They needed to keep Slark alive just a bit longer because there were so many members of Alliance hitting that throne, but none of them really did significant auto attack damage. But when the Slark, as soon as he started turning his attention to that throne, it did so much damage.
Yep.
So if they were able to just throw their bodies at the members of RoX.KIS to give more time for Slark to auto-attack that throne, and maybe if Slark spent more time hitting the throne, I saw him trying to like kind of keep the others at bay, and then as soon as he started hitting the throne, it's like, oh, there's the damage, because he did so much damage. And also, I was really scared for RoX.KIS because Goldblack he wasn't buying his refresher.
Right.
I was wondering the whole time, what he had the gold, he already bought back, and he still had the gold, and his ulti was on cooldown. I was like, why is your refresher? You know, I was getting really scared for RoX.KIS, but nonetheless, they won the fight. They took down Loda, who was the damage dealer, the physical damage dealer. Well played, and what a game. I mean, what a game to start the series off, nonetheless. My God.
That's a hell of a game to lead off a 9 a.m. day with, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you what's funny. Look at the box scores. If you had to guess based on nothing but the box scores, the KDA, and the item inventories for both teams, there's no way you'd guess RoX.KIS. 8-7 for Goldblack, 8-7 for Solo, 7-8 for Centaur. For BZZ, rather. Sadoy on Darkseer, 6-12 for him. He died a lot. 5-9 on Yol's Bane. And you compare that to 21-6 on Loda's Slark, 11-8 on S4's Magnus, and on down the line. I mean, yes, after that, Bulldog not having the greatest of all games, 4-7. He was involved in 26 of 43 kills, though. But still, Alliance got it together late, but still just not enough. And yeah, by the time, it ended up swinging pretty much in favor whenever you look at the graphs at the end, getting back towards RoX.KIS. But by the time things ended, it was all but an even game regarding pretty much every metric. The net worth, you can see Loda did actually creep above Solo for a little while towards the end. But yeah, just a phenomenal game, great draft, and a whole hell of a lot of fun to lead off the first series of another RoX.KIS doubleheader here at the D2L Western Challenge. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. Thanks for being a part of the broadcast, guys. Hope you guys had as much fun with that one as I did. Certainly a blast for us, and looking forward again to Game 2. Again, this is more or less a must-win series for both teams, as Alliance is sitting down near the cellar of our overall standings, and RoX.KIS at 0-3 after forfeiting their very first match as they had to back out at the last minute, and then going 0-2 in their doubleheader yesterday. If they want to have a chance at postseason contention, they have to win, and really it's no different for Alliance. So a lot on the line, and another series coming up after this one as well. For now, though, we look ahead to Game 2 of Alliance taking on RoX.KIS. We'll be right back here on the D2L Western Challenge. Stick with us.